Alright everybody, welcome back to Snappy Performance. If you were here for the last video, you saw that we got this quarter panel ground down and we cut it out and we took that ugly duckbill thing off the back of it. And now in today's video, we're gonna finish cleaning up everything I didn't finish in the last video. Like we gotta finish getting these spot welds out and take these little flaps off that were still left over. So after all this is ground down and cleaned up, we're gonna put some rust proofing in all the stuff behind the quarter, and then we're gonna get the new quarter panel fitted on here, and then we're gonna tack it on here, we're gonna fully weld it on here, and then we're gonna grind it down. So stay tuned for that, and let's get into the rest of the video, guys.
Hey guys, so as Sean's over at the car getting all the rust removed and prepped, doing a really good job with that, I'm gonna start working on this quarter panel. So it's a new quarter panel, but it was literally a quarter of a quarter panel. We'll show you the back real quick. Brand new quarter skin that someone welded to another car and then cut everything off, cut the whole thing off to sell it. I don't know why, I don't know what car it came off of. I didn't see the car, but this is what we got. They were super cheap. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overlay this piece like this. And for right now, we're just gonna mark it with some masking tape and cut it pretty big. We're gonna cut it up in here at the body line so that it's a little bit more manageable to work with. So this is just a rough cut. And this is how I'm just gonna mark it out like this. And this is gonna be our cut off. And like I said, it's just gonna be a little bit bigger. And then once we have that figured out, now it'll be nice. We can crunch this thing up, throw it in the trash. This is the piece we cut off. We don't need this anymore, obviously. This thing, look at this, was all boogered up on the back. You can even see the difference, like whoever made these repairs to it, they shaped the actual back of the wheel well opening completely different than it was supposed to be. So this can now finally go in the garbage. I'm gonna go ahead, slice this piece out, and just start getting this thing stripped down and prepped. It's got a good body line in it here. Whoever did the body work did a decent job. You really couldn't tell over here, but they didn't finish the body work all the way to the back, which was odd. It's still got a weld in the back corner here. They never covered up with filler, so hey, whatever works. So let's get going doing that, and then we'll get back to Sean's action over there, getting everything prepped up. All right, guys, so we're at the point where I'm gonna get in here and give Sean a hand. There's a bunch of things, some detail work in here. I gotta get all this garbage that's rotted cleaned out. Somebody put a patch in here, we're gonna get that out. We gotta trim this short, and then we're gonna start getting the panel ready to install. What I wanna do is get this little piece of the quarter off the rocker. We'll separate this and get it picked out of here. We're gonna kind of fast forward through this on the video, play some music, and let you watch this because I don't want to bore you for the half hour, an hour it's going to take me to get all this cut apart and prepped up, ready. We're going to get the POR 15 on the back corner. We're going to weld the holes in that corner of the trunk floor there where the quarter's got to go. We're going to clean up this lip and kind of just prep everything. We're mini tubbing this thing, so eventually all this is going to be cut out, but there's some bracing up in here. There's bracing right now that goes up to the top of the quarter panel. And I don't want to take the rest of this out just for the structural integrity of everything until we have the quarter in place. Because right now this is pretty flimsy and you can really see it. It just moves everything. So we're at the point where I'm happy with everything that's already cut out. We'll trim some spots. We're going to clean this out here, get everything prepped and ready to slide this quarter on. And I want to get this paint off at the bottom of this because I'm not sure if that's rotted and just bulged funny or if someone replaced the back of this rocker panel. So follow along for this part. Enjoy some music. We're gonna get to this quarter panel ready. All right, so we've got the quarter just slightly clamped on. It's fitting really perfect with just 2 clamps. We changed our minds. This fits so nice like this. We're actually going to cut this up higher and take more of the original quarter panel out and use more of the new quarter panel. That way we're not going down into this curve here and having to do welding and body work. So right now I'm just going to start, like we kind of knocked this in place already. This doesn't fit. So when you're putting these quarters on, you're usually going to have to do some trimming and some fitting and just manipulate the panel to fit right. So we're just going to trim down in here so that this quarter fits nicely into this recess. We got our helper Rosie here. She doesn't want us to get too carried away today, so she's keeping an eye on us. But I'm going to get this cut out. We'll put more clamps in here so nothing moves. We got to move the, being that we don't have a wheel well in there, we'll just have to put a spacer. Pop this out a 1/2 inch so it's in the right position. And then we're just going to come through with the cutoff disc on the angle grinder, and we're just going to slice along. What's cool about that is that gives you a perfect spacing for your weld joint. You need a little bit of space so that when that weld sheet metal grows, it doesn't wave and get all buckled. So let me get this cut out. We'll get more clamps on this. We'll do some more marking, trimming, and this thing should be ready to tack on in a little while.
What is that tape for?
That's what we're gonna cut. We're gonna cut on this back side of this, all the way along this, and then this panel is basically just gonna fall into place, and we should have a gap. We're gonna have a gap left that's the size of the blade. So the goal is not to go back and forth 10 times. We want to cut through both panels. So by cutting through both panels, it's gonna give us a perfect piece that falls right into place, gives us a gap to weld into, and everything should be perfect. All right, guys, so by cutting that way, you can already see how perfectly this fits together. Let's get rid of this scrap real quick. A couple pieces on the back side that I didn't cut all the way through, but check this out. Look at how perfect this ends up lining up. So now we'll get some of our clips, our fasteners. We have attachment points, little tabs that'll go in here, bring everything out where it belongs. And this is going to get seamed together. So that gap, you want a gap there like that. That way when your metal's expanding, so if you put it tight together, your metal's going to push apart and have a bubble here. If you have a space like this, you got a good spot for your weld to go into, and you have less chance of a serious expansion when it's all welded together. So now we'll go front and back and all over the place, and you weld this by letting it cool here and go back and forth. And to do it right, it takes a really long time. You gotta have a lot of patience to do it, but we're gonna do it. And you're gonna see this is gonna end up really looking good. I can tell already just by the way this is fitting together. This is the right thing to do for this setup with what we have to work with. And this is really gonna look exceptionally good. Man, this is gonna look freaking great. Look at that. This is really gonna fit together nicely. Let's pop this off. So before we can go welding this on, I'd love to just start welding it. We got to clean the back of this quarter panel because being that this was a used quarter panel that's been laying around, it's got some surface rust and this and that. So I didn't want to have to grind the inside of that because it's a pain in the neck. So I'm going to take this off. Now that we know where we have to grind, we're going to clean these edges up. We're going to clean the edges of the body up. And then we're going to get this thing completely situated. And here shortly we'll be able to tack it on. All right, guys, so you can see we got this clamped in place. The line we cut, if you can see that gap there, that's exactly what we want. It fits perfect. Over here, where this meets, it's a little tight. It just touches, so I got to get the grinder. We're just going to relieve this a little bit more so that there's nothing to hit. I've got these clips. These are just little tabs that go in place. This goes on the back side, pulls through this hole, and it pulls everything nice and aligned like this. I'm gonna get more of these before we actually start welding. You can see how it works. This just slips right in between if you never used this before. It slips right in. You can get these at Harbor Freight. We got a Harbor Freight pretty close by, so I'll go grab another pack or two of these and see how nice that, I mean, that gives like a perfect finished edge. Now this here, there was a pin here, a stud here for trim. So it's dented in. So this edge here, we're gonna have to work it in place a little bit more. Might have to bend that in. This whole corner, like there's a bunch of dents here, like someone was hammered and dollying. So the shape of this and this might be, they might be a little funny. And then this is even, the new quarters even got a dent in it. So this here, we're gonna have to pull into shape. And then we gotta do some trimming around the back, get everything to wrap this corner. It's pretty darn close, but we're gonna wrap it better. And then as you can see here, I mean, look at how nice this is. This is that's perfect, but they still move, which is why I wanna get more. This looks great. Like I said, we're gonna get more of these clamps. There's definitely not enough for us to weld yet, but we'll get more tomorrow and we'll get this thing welded up, ground down, ready to move on to the other side. All right, so we've got the quarter panel patch all ready to go. We've got holes drilled for spot welds. We've got our weld through primer on the back side. We've got our weld through primer on all the pinch welds where everything's gonna be welded at. And everything looks pretty good and ready to go. So here it goes. We're gonna clamp this baby on, get it welded up.
That we're playing like doctor over here.
Yeah, we're just stitching her up. The light is taking the retinas out of my eyes. But here we go. We're gonna get ready to start welding this thing up. The gap is a little bit large in some spots, which is okay. I think I'd rather have a slightly large gap there than too tight. That way we don't have buckling. But the way it lines up, the way it meets is really perfect. So we're just gonna start tacking. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack kind of close to, one of these brackets, one of these clamps, and then we'll do that all the way down. And I might actually go from here, and then I might skip 10 inches and keep going, because this quarter panel and everything is so absolutely perfectly straight, which you normally don't see this easily when you do something like this. It's so perfect, we really don't want to distort it, because it's just gonna be a matter of grinding the weld, and there's gonna be, if it stays the way it is, it's gonna be a minimal skim of body filler with very little hammering and dollying, and it's gonna just fall into place, skim it with filler, and it's like a full quarter. So let's get to it here, get some welding done, and you guys can watch along. All right, here we go, first tack. What we're gonna need to do over here is we're gonna have to pry this front out with a pry bar. See where it's not in the right spot? And then we'll weld down here. We'll get this area done. And then see how the shape is different than the factory one?
Yeah.
It's just a totally different shape. So we'll hammer and dolly this into place before we weld it. But we'll get a weld up here where everything is matching nice. The point matches real nice, but just down below it, the shape is weird. So I'm gonna move a few things around. We'll get this where it belongs. We gotta bring all this out just a hair. I'm gonna grab a pry bar. That's pretty darn straight now. Looks like one piece to me. Throw a couple tacks in there. Before I weld anymore, I'm gonna bang this around a little bit.
It's like overhanging it?
Yeah, I think that the fact that this area is so beat up, it's all wavy through here. I just want to hammer and dolly this. The better foundation we start out with, the better it's going to be when we grind everything. So give me the hammer and dolly again. Oh, this got tight. See that?
So pulled it together?
Yeah, and that's just goes to show how things move around, right? Like that slid right in there before. Now we got a tight spot. So We don't want this whole thing to be a big bulge because then it's going to look like garbage. Hold this down below. I want to get carried away. I don't want to end up with a whoop-de-doo right there. So now we're going to come around. I'm going to get another weld in here. Weld this. I'm going to weld this big guy up and get some heat in it right now. And then we'll come up here and we're going to finish this cut and fitting this whole corner together so that this flows correctly. Through, we can do another round of welds, and we'll just keep. That's the name of it. The game. Just keep going back and forth 500 times.
So when can you take the clamps out?
This clamp can come off right now. That one's done. We'll do one more.
Like pass?
Yep, we'll do one more pass and go in between each one now, right in the center.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll let everything cool real good, and then we'll come back through and we'll pop all them off. What I'll probably do first though is I'll get under here and make sure this isn't moving, just flapping the breeze. I gotta weld it to the drop leg off the trunk. So we'll weld that to there so that's not moving everywhere. This fits unbelievably perfect back here. I mean, this who knows how old this quarter panel is. I mean, I bought the thing 10 years ago and someone else had already put it on a car once, so who knows where that cool. Maybe that's one of the original repros. So we're gonna let this cool. We're gonna get all our tools picked up off the floor from cutting this out. We'll just move everything into the trunk because we're gonna need it on the other side anyway. Sweep the floor up, get all our hoses and stuff out of the way. Then we'll come back and we're gonna pull these out, and then we'll keep going with some more welds. We might grind a few of these off. I gotta get under there and put a couple tacks on this so that thing's not moving all over the place. And I think that looks pretty awesome. Well, being that we got to do a whole bunch of grinding and it's 10 o'clock at night, I think what we're going to do is we're going to call this good. I might go back over and fill in a couple of these little spots where I have a bigger spacing between the welds. And the next thing I want to do is come down, we'll come in and we'll take all these nubs down with a grinder, and we won't be finishing the whole thing. We'll just hit the high points. So we get them out of our way, and then we'll start filling in between. And again, with the grinding, you always want to jump around so that you don't have a major amount of heat buildup in one spot and warp something. So, this is cooled off back here already. This is still warm here. So you gotta move with the heat. You don't wanna get a certain spot too hot and have an oil can on you. Just with the banging around that I did back here, this is already considerably better. There's definitely still dents and waves and things going on here. I'm gonna have to get out my waffle dolly and try to shrink some of that into place. I don't know. I'm really happy with this. It's been a long time since I did a patch this long. I've done a lot of smaller pieces recently, but do something this long and have it come out this good, I'm pretty happy. That's it for tonight. Hopefully we can get this thing knocked down and hit the whole thing with a DA and make it look like 1/4 panel, and then we'll move to the other side. All right, we're gonna finish sanding the spot welds that we did yesterday. I already started on a few of them before I started up the camera, but you get the idea of it. We're just gonna go move around like we did with the welds, knock down these high spots, come back, weld more, let it cool, come back, do the same thing until we got all the little joints in between each tack weld filled. Then we'll come through and clean the whole thing up with the DA, blend it all together, metal work it, and it'll look like $1 million. All right, you can see we got the first round of grinding all knocked down. And that's what it looks like. You can still see the seam there. So now, just like the first go around, I'll go back and I'll bounce around and fill in everything in between. Right now, this thing is perfectly level. We have no dips, no waves, nothing alarming, nothing weird in here at all. So that's exactly what we're hoping for. We hope it stays that way. Sometimes these things warp, but right now we're looking real good. So we'll get back to welding and then we'll grind a little more. All right, everybody, so here we are, quarter panel on the Nova, done, passenger side. Turned out great. There's a little divot here where I welded. We're not worried about that. Everything is nice and flat, nothing warped. The quarter overall, the whole thing has got a really good shape to it. So it's not gonna take a tremendous amount of filler, which is what we want. We don't wanna have a 1/2 inch of body filler on there like some people do. We wanna have a nice skim and straighten everything out and then get this thing looking good. So we're done with this side. Thank you for watching this part of the video. We're gonna get on to the other side. We may not be as involved with the video on the other side and bore you with the exact same thing since you saw us do this one, but we'll probably include the tail panel in that one, getting that in and done. So if you like what we're doing, please give us a like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. 74 Nova is gonna be a 70 soon. So follow us for the other side and that tail panel swap coming right up.